Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on our video. It means a lot if you guys keep clicking. If you guys keep clicking, I'll keep making it. Today, we are going to be talking about the true contenders for Survivor 41 after 2 episodes. So at this point, I do in fact feel like the contenders from the season are starting to kind of fall into our lap. Obviously, there's still some gray area, as we'll talk about later. But what I want to do is I want to go through every tribe individually and talk about the people on each tribe that I feel like could contend to win. Now, to clarify, a true contender is someone who I think can win the game, meaning there's two facets. You have to get to final tribal and then have a chance to win at final tribal. And so if I feel like you have one of those, not the other one, they will not make the list. And so just want to be very, very clear on my my prerequisites for being a true contender, because I know like a lot of people have different standards as to what a contender is or what a possible pick for going far in the game or winning or whatever we're discussing. But today we are going to be talking about possible winners. Can they win the game? As always, we'll be doing a live show about 5 minutes after the episode comes out. We always go live on YouTube immediately, so come check us out. Survivor Spencer, you can look it up in the YouTube search bar. We come up first now, ahead of Spencer Bledsoe. Haha, I win. But yes, just overall, guys, thank you for the continued support. If that's it, 72% of you guys who are watching these videos are not subscribed. Let's change that. It's easy and it's free. And now, if that's it, let's get right into the video. So let's start on the Yase tribe. This is the yellow tribe. I think Jeff refers to it as the Yasser tribe. So I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Yasi, I've heard some people say. So whatever you want to call it. I think Yasa is also what I heard. So we've heard a lot of different names to this tribe, but it's definitely the yellow tribe. The tribe that we have seen go to tribal now 2 times. They are the lowest remaining members on a tribe out of any of these tribes still in the game, and we have 4 people. And how this is going to work is for when I get to each tribe, I'm first going to talk about the people who I feel like are not contenders, and then I'll end with the people who I feel like are contenders. So starting out on this tribe, we have Liana. I do not feel like Liana is a contender. One, I feel like she's getting this second in command edit to Evie. And I feel like that's never good. Very, very rarely do we see like the second in command win the game, unless they blindside their own first in command. And if that's the case, then it makes a lot more sense. I mean, other than maybe Wendell, Wendell, I think Wendell's a pretty good example of a second in command. Other than that, I really can't think of somebody who's in a solid duo and was the second one in the duo and still won the game, or at least was portrayed that way on TV. I feel like usually what we'll see is the person in second command blindsides their own first command, or their first command gets blindsided, like a Natalie and a Jeremy, and then they have to recover. And if that's the case, that's a whole different story. But as for now, it seems like they're going to stay solid with each other until proven otherwise. On that, I have to go with a very hard second in command edit, and that's never good for your chances at winning. I don't want to sound like I'm some sort of egic nerd. I have no idea about any of that stuff. I don't know any of the letters and tables and any of that in Google Sheets. I just watch the show, and I take what I know from the show of watching 39 seasons. Yes, I have not watched Thailand. Watching 39 seasons, I think I know a thing or two about like the edit, and I feel like the edit is becoming harder to read, but also easier. But I feel like there are certain precedents that will never be broken, and one of those is that the second in command rarely ever wins, and if they do, the production will probably not portray them as such. And so therefore I feel like Liana really does not have a chance to win. And also, if she gets to the end with Evie, she's not gonna get credit for the moves. Evie is. And even if she gets to the end without Evie, I think that she doesn't get the respect from the jury to win at the end. So I feel like she does have longevity in the game, but she has no shot of winning the game. Our next person we're going to talk about, I'm already laughing, sorry. Okay, it's Tiffany. If you couldn't tell, Tiffany is definitely not a true contender for the season. I see no scenario where Tiffany wins. If she does, I'm an idiot. But I mean, I don't see it. I mean, maybe she gets dragged to the end. I mean, for me, it's either Heather or Tiffany who's going to get that third place, non-respected, zero vote finalist. Edit, I feel like there's no scenario where she wins the game, and I feel like the only way that she gets to the end is if she gets that third place finalist position. And if that's the case, obviously that's not a true contender. That's someone who gets dragged to the end. And I think that her only way to get further in the game is by riding Evie's coattails, which obviously is not going to bring her the win. She seems to be a terrible player in all facets of the game. Obviously, we saw socially that she's just holding on to Evie. Now, I will say socially is probably her best, her strong suit, because I have heard that she had close bonds with a lot of people on the tribe, except for obviously Abraham. But I will say so maybe not all facets, but strategically and physically. Obviously, we saw physically, and then and then strategically, she's freaking panicking over an advantage that she's been told and also been reiterated several times is not real. And if they're willing to switch the vote to David, why would they then lie to you about the advantage? They're either going to fully blindside you or fully be honest with you, and they being Evie. And so if that's the case, why in the world are you worrying? They're either going to blindside you and they're not going to switch the vote to David. They're going to switch the vote to you, or they're being honest and the advantage really isn't active and Xander's not going to play his advantage. And so that's why I feel like Tiffany is definitely nowhere near a true contender. Probably the farthest person from a true contender for me, other than maybe a few others that we'll get to next tribe, maybe, or the tribe after that. No. One from Green Tribe, two from Blue Tribe. All right, now to the better news. So here are in my personal opinion, the contenders from the Yase tribe. So I have Xander as a contender. Now, definitely Xander's strong suit in the whole contender, get to the end or win the end is definitely the win in the end part. I think if he gets to the end against almost anybody, he probably wins the game, including a person like Nasir, who, we're talking about, great story this, great story that. Xander would probably beat Nasir because he's going to play a lot better game than Nasir is, and if that's the case, he can beat a lot. I think Xander can beat almost anybody in the post-merge. He's so likable. He's probably going to have to win a few challenges. If he does get all the way to the end, he's going to have this balance of social and strategical sense, and he's going to be very socially aware. And I feel like overall, if he gets to the end, he's going to win. My issue is not that how does he get to the end, or even how does he get from the merge to the end? How does he get to the merge? Period. I mean, with Evie having a strong hold on this tribe, I don't see a scenario in which Xander can get out of this tribe unless they vote out Tiffany and then either win out or then his idol activates. Because I do not think that Evie flips on Liana or vice versa. And so from there, that means it's either going to be Tiffany or Xander going home next. And the only reason that I don't have Xander also with Tiffany as a person who has no shot at winning, because they're on the chopping block, is because if in the chance that Xander can get out of this tribe, which I think it's actually pretty good, everything for Xander, really what it is can he get them to vote out Tiffany this next episode when they lose, because they're probably going to lose. If they can vote out Tiffany, I think you're set. That's great, awesome. Because then after that, because we know that the green tribe is probably going to get activated by the reaction of SHANTEL and Brad, and so if that's the case, and you can get the them to vote out Tiffany in that episode being the next episode that's going to drop tomorrow, then the next week what you can do, or I guess the next episode, what you can then do is if you can get them now if the Blue Tribe can find their idol, then you can now activate your idol, and now all of a sudden you can idol when Evie and Liana inevitably vote for you when there's 3 left, and you guys go back, because we're looking at probably no swap. So if that's the case, that's probably his path to getting out of this tribe. The fact that I had to spend 3 minutes describing his path out of this tribe shows me how scared I am for him. But if he can get out, he's a really good shot. Obviously he has connections with all types of people. Danny, JD from that first island. I mean, he's doing really, really, really good. And I think that if he can get to the merge, he can then use his challenges and his smarts and also his social game to really, really do some damage for sure. Next up, we got Evie. Evie is definitely, for me, the MVP of this tribe. She's in control. She's not going to go home, since there's no swap, And if there's no dissolvation, I'm guessing she's not going to go home pre-merge. I think she even beats Liana in a fire making challenge if it comes down to it. And so even if they go all the way down to 1 on that tribe, I think she still comes out victorious, because obviously for these next 2 votes, she's in no trouble unless Xander's idol activates, which is why she, like, right now at this point, it's too late for her to try and, win, quote unquote, keep the tribe strong. She needs to vote out Xander at this next tribal, period, end of story. And then after that, she can vote out Tiffany, because once Xander's gone, his idol's gone also, and so then you have an easy vote in Tiffany after that, and then you want them to probably merge there, or I guess like dissolve there or whatever, and keep that bond with Liana. And I think for that reason, because of the fact that even on the Matt Singh tribe of this season, the fact that Evie is still in a great spot and probably the second most protected person, probably the first most protected person on the entire cast, is saying something, because of how bad of a situation she's in numbers wise, and yet she's still playing a fantastic game. And so that's why I feel like Evie is a contender along with Xander on this tribe. And so now I think we're going to go on to the Luvu tribe, which is the blue tribe. I've not heard them call it anything except Luvu, so thankfully there's no confusion like Yase was. So here we go. Luvu tribe. First one, these are going to be the 3 people who I feel like have no chance at winning. These are 3 people. One of them may anger some of you. That's okay. I really don't care. So the first one we have is Erica. I think Erica is like kind of spineless. I don't think anyone's gonna really respect her games to get to the end. Like really, like genuinely, right? Let's say it's Xander and like Nasir at the end with Erica. Even if they both don't really deserve it, are you really going to listen to Erica and be like, yeah, that's the person who I'm going to give my million? No, she's probably going to sit up there and be like, I made moves and I made alliances. She's not going to give a strong speech. She's not like that strong woman. She seems very passive, and I don't like that. I think the women who in this game are aggressive. Look at Sarah. Look at Parvati. Even people like Danny, who are a little bit more passive, they had to be aggressive at times, and I just don't think Erica has it. I will, whatever it is that you need to win, that grit, that like 3rd gear, that 5th gear, 4th gear, whatever you want to call it. I don't think Erica has it. I just generally do not think that Erica has that extra gear or that tenacity to win the game. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and if I'm right, I'm right. But I think I'm going to be right. Next up, we got Heather. This is a classic example of a purple. I think Heather's a shoo-in for the 3rd place, like, no vote finalist. I know everyone thinks that Tiffany's going to be dragged to the end by Evie and take that spot of like the old lady who gets 3rd place with no votes, but I actually think that that's Heather's, and that's why we've gotten no edit from her, at least this far. I think she'll probably get more an edit towards the merge and get sort of like the same like Julie from 38 archetype, where she's very emotional, but she's emotionally strong. She's gonna prove to her family, and then she gets 3rd at the end, and she didn't really get an edit pre-merge, and so we weren't very connected to her. And I feel like that's Heather's spot. I don't think Heather has a shot to win. We haven't seen anything. Obviously, everyone when I make this argument, everyone, or like the argument that the person who I'm talking about next is going to go home, they're always like, well, but Sydney and Heather were going at it in the secret scene. They would have shown it in the show if that came to any sort of fruition. They would have put it in the episode, because most people aren't going to watch the secret scenes. Your casual viewer is going to needs to know why Heather is going after Sydney, and they would have shown that if Heather was actually going to go after Sydney. And so I feel like it's silly to think that a secret scene is going to be more important than the edited TV show. And lastly, out of the people I feel like I personally think have no shot to win, I'm going to put Deshawn here. This was a close call. I did think for a second that maybe Deshawn can slip into contender, because I do think he has a shot to win it, a shot to win it if he gets to the end against the right people. I think there's only a select few people that he can beat. Depending on who gets the merge, I can tell you then, and if he gets there as well. But that's really the issue, is that I will say his tribe's probably not going to lose at all, if any, like maybe one challenge or maybe like a double tribal that they have to go to once they dissolve into 2 tribes, or if they merge, then obviously he'll have to start going to tribal. But I feel like Deshawn's only bad thing is that if the women stay strong in this tribe, which that's all we've been shown in the edited TV show, not secret scenes, the edited TV show, all that we've been shown is that the women are sticking strong, and that Nasir is out, in the clear. He's good. that leaves Danny and Deshaun. You're telling me that they're going to vote out Danny? Are you kidding me? Yeah, haha, hilarious. And in this super tough season, they're going to vote out Danny. No way. So that only leaves Deshaun. Plus, we have gotten like the character of Deshaun develop, but not too much. And so that does give me like a nice medium of, oh, like maybe they're trying to set him up to then be booted, but not to a point where we're on his side completely, like a JD type of thing where we were on JD's side 100%. If he got booted, we'd all be so angry, and and so therefore they edited JD super heroically. They've edited Deshaun kind of mixed, and they've given him just enough screen time to where if he did go home, it wouldn't be like the edit make no sense there. Okay, moving on to my 3 contenders on this tribe. I got Danny. So first of all, come on, he's totally gonna get to the merge, unless he gets like the last boot before the merge type of thing, where like they're like, oh, let's like snipe him out right before the merge because he's a gigantic threat, which could happen, but I doubt it because they probably won't have an opportunity to unless it's a double tribal, and even then, I feel like he's made the bonds with at least Sydney for sure, and obviously Deshaun, and that's already half the tribe. And the other half don't seem very connected. Like Nasir and Erica don't seem like best friends, and so I feel like he's in a good spot here with Danny. And I feel like once he gets to the merge, if he can grab some meat shields and play, I've said 1,000 times he is my pregame winner pick for the season, and I said he can win if he plays like Jeremy. He has to play like Jeremy. That's his only way to win, because Jeremy is the most repeatable strategy, especially for muscular men, to win the game in this era of Survivor. I think out of the past 10 seasons, Jeremy's way of winning is the most repeatable way to win. And I feel like the other methods, like your Sarah method, is a lot more tough to pull out. Like your Michelle method of just pure social game, like a lot more unique. Something like a Jeremy's game, just about anybody can do, especially if you're a strong player. So I feel like his shot at winning is playing like Jeremy, grabbing some meat shields and trying not to get sniped out of the merge because, quote unquote, he's really good in challenges. Next up, we have Sydney. So I feel like for me, Sydney is definitely the type of Angelina character on this season. I feel like that's what she's being set up to be. Because in her pregame, I got a lot of hints of like kind of pettiness and socially unaware and kind of conceited in a way, and like very unaware of how she comes off, and like overconfident. But I think I like her as like a person more than Angelina. I find Angelina to be kind of insufferable, and I think her edit really worked. Whereas I think they're going to try and give Sydney a different type of Angelina edit. They're going to try and give her like that, female who's kind of conceited and petty and whatever. But at the same time, they're probably also going to give her more layers, because I think that she does have a shot to win the game. And I feel like because of that, I think that she could win, because I don't think she's going to get a full on, whole Angelina edit. And even if she is, I feel like she could just be like the version of Angelina who could actually win the game. I think she has the bonds on her tribe that I've already talked about with Deshaun, Danny, and also Nasir as well. And then also, obviously the 2 women. So I don't see them all turning on her at once. And so if she gets the merge, then after that, she doesn't have to worry for a few rounds, because there's going to be a lot of muscular dudes getting sniped out probably, or like huge strategical powerhouses like your Evie's in Chantel's. And she's in a pretty good medium spot. She's very medium. She's kind of what I thought Sarah would be on this season, but because Sarah went so early, she kind of takes Sarah's spot as the very like medium mild person. Next up, we have Nasir. For Nasir, I mean, I've said it before. I think Nasir is going to have to win like Janet should have won, because Janet, if it weren't for a coin flip going one way or the other, Janet wins that season. And if Janet wins that, Janet gets the end of that season, and if Janet gets the end of that season, she may have a shot at beating Tommy. Now, I tend to lean that she loses to Tommy, but not by like a country mile. And I do think that she could have beat Tommy with a good performance at Final Tribal, and so I feel like it was her path at the end, and she's got unlucky. And so if Nasir can, I feel like Nasir's way to the end is playing like that, being the just likable person, not much game to them, but also not just like no game. They get into an alliance. They're not like the top or the bottom. Everyone loves them. They can beat people on fire just like Janet could. And he just can't get unlucky. And I feel like that's his way to get to the end, with his story, just like how Janet would have gotten to the end and had a shot to win. And so I will say he's a contender. Plus, on top of that, before, like maybe an episode ago, I would have said, well, no, he could win at the end, but he's not going to get to the end because he's screwed. He's going to go out really, really soon. But after that confessional of them just saying completely, no, he's good, he's cleared. I don't know why the production would say that and then go right back on it, even though could they propped him up as he's screwed, and then they said no, he's actually good now. Versus if they should have just said, oh, he's screwed, period, or started with he's really good and then he's screwed, not gone back and forth and back and forth. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and so therefore I do think that Nasir is somewhat of a contender because I think he's safe, and I think that if he gets to the end, he has a really good shot to win with just his story alone. Whew, okay, that tribe took forever because that tribe is so dominant that there's like everybody left in that tribe. That tribe took literally like 10 minutes, I think. I mean, you guys can check the time for me, but Jesus. All right, moving on. I got 2 people who I feel like are not contenders in this tribe, and I have 3 people who I feel like are contenders. It's funny that the 2 tribes that have 5/6 have 3 contenders, and the tribe that has 4 has 2 contenders. It seems like almost half the tribe for each tribe is contenders, if not more than half the tribe, especially for this tribe where we have 5 and we have 3 that are contenders. So let's start with the people who I feel like cannot contend. So first, I'm actually going to start out with someone who I was very high on going into the game. I thought, well, I wasn't personally very high on him, although I did agree with others being high on him. I didn't have him as my winner pick, but I had him in my top 3 power rankings, and I felt like it was him, JD, and Danny who were the best position, and I was right about probably 2 of those, and not him. I feel like he's getting a hard villain edit right now. Everything he says, that comes out of his mouth, even though he is doing like heroic, or at least things that production would probably try and edit heroic usually, like the guys thing and the whole whatever, this and that, and his whole speech and this and that. I think production would usually try and really lean into that as a hero, but because he probably doesn't go out, he probably doesn't win the game. They're probably really, really hyping up his hero edit. He'll probably get booted out at the merge, maybe, if not somewhere after the merge. But I feel like he has no shot of winning after how he's being portrayed as just a very hard villain. First, and because we got this huge hero edit on JD in the pre-merge, in the premiere, the person who we thought, oh my God, JD needs to stay. He's my favorite. Everyone loves JD. And of course, the person who's kind of across from JD, kind of targeting him, saying, not nice things about JD, is Ricard. And usually when you have someone directly opposing the hero, you have your villain. And on top of that, if that's not enough for you, then in this episode we have Brad. He's kind of getting like this, oh, he's crazy, but he's like really, really trying, and he's really invested in all, look at like silly Brad, haha, like we're on his side. And then it cuts to Ricard saying he's a terrible player. And he's very negative edit. Maybe it's not a villain edit, but everything that they're showing him say is very, very negative. And that's never good when you're looking at the edit. You don't want somebody only getting negative content, because then the viewer who's watching is only going to feel negative when they come on the screen. And that's not what you want for a winner, obviously. Next one is Genie. I'm not even going to waste breath on this. I think you guys know exactly why Genie is not a contender, because it's literally Genie. If you guys think Genie is a contender, I'd be happy to send you, an invite to, therapy. Listen, therapy is always good. But seriously though, if you think Genie is a contender, I don't know what show you're watching. Maybe you should go back to Big Brother. Okay, we're going to stop. Moving on. Now, as far as Brad, I feel like Brad now starts our contender category. I feel like Brad is not totally screwed. I know everyone thinks he's screwed because there's a little small, his scene where he was acting like Tony. I mean, he made a spy shack. He did it in front of half the tribe, and that's just not really a good look. But I think that Brad's saving grace is going to be in the next episode. On the next time on, we see that him and SHANTEL are probably going to link up at some point in the episode, which I'm pretty excited for as far as his game goes. Also, just to add, I think the jury would respect his game, unlike a person like, for an example, an Erica or a Heather or a Tiffany. I feel like if he did get to the end, he would beat like a good amount of people, which is a good thing always when you're talking about contenders to win the game. Next, I got JD, also a contender. I think that he is good on all 3 facets of the game. I feel like that's his real biggest thing, is that he's good, obviously, physically. He's very good socially. Other than his little blunders of being a little bit maybe socially unaware, I think he's still good socially. He's just not as good as SHANTEL is, which is saying a lot, because SHANTEL is very, very good at the social game. And then as far as his overall connection to Chantel goes, I feel like it's very good for his game. And that if Chantel does get taken out at the merge, I think it's a person in front of him. So if anything, it's a meat shield, even though he's probably a lot more muscular than Chantel is. Maybe it's more like a nerd shield, if anything. And I feel like that's a really good thing. I wouldn't call Chantel. I mean, maybe like a social shield, whatever. Call it that, I guess. And then as far as the last person, I have SHANTEL herself. I mean, she's in complete control of the tribe now. I will say Evie's probably in a bit more control, but I'd say second place is pretty darn good out of 18 people when it comes to who's in the most control. I am worried for her coming merge time if her tribe gets to the merge with Lulu's tribe and they're both like at 5 or something. And then like let's say that the Yase has one person, and so if they were to merge 5-5-1, I think that one person is Evie, and Evie definitely flips over to Luvu because Luvu has those pre-existing bonds like Danny to Xander, but then much more importantly, Evie and Deshawn make a bond, and that might cause Evie to flip over to that tribe. I feel like they have less connections with the tribe. They, being the Yase tribe, have less connections with the Ua tribe, and if that's the case, Chantel's probably like the first to go on Ua, and so I do feel like Chantel's gonna have to keep control of the game, which is kind of hard. But at the same time, if anyone could do it, it's probably her. Even better than Evie. It's just that Evie happens to be in a better mathematical situation, but I think that their dominance on both tribes is definitely comparable for sure. So we've gone through everyone. Just to go back, we have Liana, Tiffany, Erica, Heather, Deshawn, Ricard, and Jeannie as our non-contenders, people who I do not think can win at this point. At this point, I'm recording this the day before episode 3 drops. So again, at this point in Survivor 41, I feel like those people have no shot at winning. And then the people who I think do have a shot at winning or are contenders, quote unquote, are Xander, Evie, Danny, Sydney, Nasir, Brad, JD, and Chantel. So that's a pretty even list there. It's about half and half, with I think maybe 1 or 2 more being in the contenders list than the non-contenders list. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that, that these are contenders? Do you think the list is BS? What's your list? That's what I really want to know. And if I like it, I'll like it. If I don't, maybe I'll tell you why in the comments. But yeah, I mean, as long as you don't have Jeannie and Tiffany in your contenders list, I'm happy with it. Obviously, no spoilers in the comments as always. I hate when I have to block someone from my entire channel because they put a spoiler up, which again, I will. It's a first. I've had people who have been commenting on my videos for a long time and they put a spoiler, like a small one. I will block you from the whole channel. Please don't be that person. That would be very unfortunate for you. But yeah, again, guys, if that's it, I just want to say thank you guys so much for continuously watching these videos, continuously showing support, most importantly, liking, even more importantly, subscribing, and most importantly, out of everything, is hitting that notification bell. Again, drop ideas in the comments for my future videos. I want more like broad videos, like not like specific videos on like specific players, but more videos on like either tribes as a whole, or maybe like these past two videos that I made, where it's like the true contenders of 41, or 41 as a season itself. And so if you guys have any more of those like really broad ideas, I can do those. I take a bunch of suggestions that come from the comments always. And if that's it, guys, I will talk to you guys later in the next one.